Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're going to replace the factory doubled-in head unit on this 2016 Mitsubishi Lancer. Now in this install we're going to show you how to remove the factory radio. We'll head to the bench to show you the parts that we're going to need for the install, including the radio, dash kit, and wiring harness. We'll come back here to get everything installed. Let's get started. Now, a couple of things to note. There are a few different trims, Mitsubishi Lancers for this generation. Various different audio platforms available over the years as they've made this specific model for quite some time. If you have an upgraded audio sound system, this install still works for you, but in the description we'll link those specific parts needed for your specific trim. First thing we need to do is get this radio on out. Now, it's not too difficult, but we do need to pull off a couple of panels. First panel that needs to come off is this trim piece because it goes all the way across the panel that we have to remove in order to access the radio. Now, we'll go ahead and open up the glove box here. Now, in here, there's going to be a screw kind of right up in here, and it's holding on this panel. Go ahead and remove that screw. Just a little Phillips. That's going to allow you to now pop this piece off. Now it doesn't have to come totally out, it just gives us access to the bottom screw for this trim piece. So we're going to go ahead and remove this screw here as well. Now I do have a panel trim removal tool. Okay, so at this point now we're going to head back to the other seat and pull off the rest of the panel. From this point we can go ahead and start unsnapping this all the way down. Pretty easy. Go ahead and disconnect the harness off this panel, just like so. Now this does have the airbag light there. There is some sort of risk if you turn on the vehicle without this connected, it could trip the light on the dash as well, so be very careful. With that now out of the way, next thing here is we need to go ahead and remove the 4 screws, they're Phillips screws holding in the OEM radio. Now it's always a good idea, ensure your CDs are out. Once you remove the radio, it's nearly impossible later on to get them out. Okay, somebody's been in here before. Look at all that. We're gonna have to go ahead and repair all that. That's unfortunate. We'll go ahead and solder up this harness. But at this point, with the radio out, go ahead and disconnect anything that's connected into the OEM radio. Once those are up and out of the way, at this point of time, our radio is free. Take the radio, and we'll also take this long trim bezel. We're gonna head over to the bench to show you the parts that we're gonna need for our install. All right, so we're at the bench now. The parts that we're using in today's install, first and foremost, is the radio that we've chosen to go with. It's this Pioneer NVH-AV251BT. It's essentially a doubled-in radio that features both wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you wanted something with wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, we can link our recommendation in the description for you. To accommodate this in the factory radio location, there are a bit of install parts needed today. Now, they've made this specific generation Lancer for a lot of years, and the radios do differ over the years. Now, in most instances, you'll replace the bezel, and this is the Metra 99-7011. This accommodates both single and doubled-in. It comes with a pocket there as well. The Metra version also comes with brackets and everything like that. This kit specifically requires us to utilize the brackets off the OEM radio. If you don't have the factory radio, we can link the right kit in the description. As for your radio harness adapter, you're going to need the Metra 70-7005. Now this specific harness is for the more bass trim. Again, we're not using any sort of amplifier retention because we don't have that specific trim level in our Lancer, so just a basic harness is needed. Again, if you have a factory backup camera, if you have the factory amplifier, there's a few different variations and parts. We'll make all those notes in the description along with the links to those specific parts. This one being a base model, this is the only harness that we need, but we do have steering wheel volume controls. We want to retain those. This Pack Audio SWI RC-1. This will keep those steering wheel buttons working with our new aftermarket receiver. There is one additional feature here. We can't retain the factory USB, unfortunately. So we have this flush mount adapter. We're going to replace one of the power sockets in the center console, and we're going to instead put a USB in its place for use of wired CarPlay and wired Android Auto. So at this point in time, those are the parts that we're using in today's install. The first step here is we're going to grab the harness that came with our radio. We're going to grab our wiring harness and the harness that came with our steering wheel volume controls. We're going to be getting these all prepared together. Today we're going to be soldering our harness up. But if you don't know how to solder, you can always use crimp caps or butt connectors, and we can link those parts in the description. So now we're preparing our wiring. We have our radio harness that came with a Pioneer. We have our harness adapter. More or less, we're going to be connecting our wires color for color. Now, always validate that the color that you're matching color to matches the same function, as oftentimes manufacturers do switch things up a little bit. So you don't want to make a mistake just relying on the colors alone. These are pretty straightforward going across here. Because this is a brand name, this is a major brand as well, it'll actually pair up color for color in our case. Now, our steering wheel volume control harness, there is a ton of wiring in here, and it can be super intimidating. Mind you, this is a universal harness, and so it has a lot of universal applications. In our case, we're only going to be using just a few of these wires, most of which we won't be using. What we need to do also is add in an additional ground. The factory radio doesn't ground through the harness, it grounds through the chassis. Similar to, like, for example, an older Subaru or a Nissan, same principle. The radio grounds through the bracket, not actually through the harness. So we need to add in a ground, and we're going to snag a factory bolt location in the dash to make our ground later on. Now, what we also did is went to PAC's website to program our steering wheel volume control module. We went ahead and printed it out since we don't have our computer right here. And essentially here shows us the dip switch configuration. We put in the year, make, and model, the radio that we're installing. So we match those dip switches with what we have here. Shows you everything that's been pre-programmed for us and our super important wiring connections. Now, not all our connections are in the harness, but oftentimes the harness doesn't come pinned with those wires. Fortunately for us, we went ahead and searched our stock, found this Toyota harness extra, and it actually pinned in here. There's these two pins, top and bottom, that we put our brown and our white in right there next to accessory. That's going to be for steering wheel volume controls. Now, very probable that you're not going to have access to something like this at home. And so what you'll do is you'll just physically tap into the wiring behind the OEM harness, and it identifies where they are. It's pin 32, pin 21, and pin 22. So it's our accessory, it's analog 1, and it's a ground that we need to tap into. We can show you where those are physically on the harness in the car in the event you're unable to actually manually pin them like we have. So we have this here, we'll take this into the car with us, and the portion that connects to the radio, being that's a Pioneer, it has a WR input, so we use the aux looking cable. But if you're doing like a Kenwood or a JVC, you'd use this blue with a yellow stripe instead of this plug. Or if your radio doesn't have a WR input, regardless, this type of input for steering wheel volume controls, it has universal connections. Alright, so we went ahead and soldered up our harness here. Again, this is the radio side. Here is our adapter side. And our speaker wires, whites, grays, greens, and purples, each with the corresponding solids and black stripes. Those are color for color. Those are your speaker wires. Those are done. Orange with a white stripe is our illumination or dimmer. Hook that up so it dims the radio when you turn on the headlights. Yellow is constant 12 volts. Again, no black wire, there's no ground, so we added in the ground and a couple of other grounds we tied in there as well. We need to ground our steering wheel volume control module harness. One of the blacks will go in there, so we grounded one of which is red in there. Red wire is accessory that connected the red wire here. We also added an extra red wire off here for a backup camera to power a camera. We're going to do that in a second video. We also need to power our steering wheel volume control module. So that solid red goes in there. We tee that in there, so we have those three connections. And then on this end, we have a solid blue, which is technically for a powered circuit for your antenna. So we tied that into the red as well, just so that powered antenna circuit will receive accessory power whenever the radio is on. Last connections here, we have our steering wheel volume control data connections. Now, our steering wheel volume controls need to be grounded, and out of all these other wires, we only needed a white. So white, both blacks, and the red. Everything else here can be capped off. We didn't even need the onboard fuse. because we didn't need constant 12 volts. So grounds into the black here. The other ground goes into our harness to ground our steering wheel volume controls. Red we tapped into accessory red, and then white also is the basically the analog signal input. Now, like I said, we found 2 pins that worked in there. We found a white pin that goes into pin number 22, which is this pin here, that white one there. That's for our analog input from the steering wheel. And we found a brown wire that fits, it's not black, but it's brown, and that's right below it. That's pin 32, and that needs to be grounded, so we tie that into ground. Those are all our connections here. We can put additional notes in the description if you need it. At this point in time, let's shrink down our tube. With our tubes now all shrunk at this point in time, we'd like to protect our harness a little bit more with some high temperature Tessa tape. All right, we finished preparing our harness here. It's all wrapped, zip tied nice and clean. We have the end that connects to our ground bolt. We added an extra remote turn on wire here. This is the extra accessory wire for our backup camera power. We have our module connected. We've got everything zip tied. This end goes in the WR input on the back of the radio, and that's about it. Nice and clean, ready to go. At this point in time, we can set our harness out to the side and turn our attention over to assembling the dash kit. All right, so we got our new dash kit here. We're going to set this off to the side because what we need to do is separate these 2 pieces from the OEM kit, just like so, and it just unsnaps. And we also need to pull these controls off and relocate them to the new kit as well. Lastly, we need to also relocate our heating and air control vents over to the new kit as well. All right, so we got everything reassembled into the new kit here. More or less, everything's ready to go from this perspective. Now, we're not going to put on the trim bezel here. We can do that later because it just snaps into place. So at this point of time, we need to put this off to the side. And this specific kit does require us to use the OEM brackets. So we'll grab the brackets, we'll grab our new aftermarket radio, go ahead and pull off the brackets off of one unit and put it on the other. To remove the center console, pulled out the cup holder pocket and then the trim around the gear shifter. Now once that's out of the way, there's going to be 2 screws inside the center console and 2 screws underneath that trim panel. That allows you to actually pull back the center console just a little bit so you can get to the 2 side screws and then the 2 top screws holding in this panel. Then it unclips. It just comes out of the way and there's a couple of harnesses to disconnect. Then it comes totally free. All right, so we went ahead and popped out this pocket. It's pretty easy to do so. We pulled out the power socket there. We pushed our USB. We did USB and aux because this radio has an aux. Might as well have access to it. And then we're going to go ahead and we put the nut on. We're going to put a little glue there to hold it in place. And then this will go to the inputs on the back of the radio. Here in the center console, your cup holder is literally just unclip and pull out. If you need access to your parking brake wire, it's right here. It's this green wire. You just use a T-tap to tap into that. In case your radio requires a parking brake wire. As for your ground inside the dash here, there's 2 10mm bolts on both sides, really easy to get to. We're just going to use a ring terminal on one of the ones here on the left. That's where we're going to use our ground for our aftermarket radio. Now, as for your steering wheel volume controls, if you don't have pins, like we've alluded to on the bench here, the wires that you need to tap into, there is the light blue and then the black there. So the blue on top is your analog connection for your steering wheel volume controls, and the black below it just needs to be grounded. You can strip back your shielding here, use T-taps on those connections, or solder right into it. Those are your connections. If you need help with steering wheel volume controls connections and how to tap into that, we can link a helpful video in the description. We ran our USB and our aux up into the dash here. Now we are doing a backup camera, so we ran that wire into the dash as well, Got our Bluetooth mic, which is just up on the A-pillar, and we just fished it through the dash, super easy. We're gonna go ahead and grab our harness adapter. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Now remember, there's no ground in this harness, so we have our nice long ground that we made. And we showed you where we will essentially use a spot there in the sub-dash support to be our ground. Went ahead and put in our ground there. So that's all done on that 10mm bolt. Now, test fitting our radio, we noticed if we have to use this kit specifically with the brackets, that the two bottom ones actually fit the best in order for the position of the radio to be in the right spot. Now, if you're using the specific metric kit, you're not gonna have to worry about that. Use the one that will link in the description. It's a lot easier to use than the no-name brand that we're using today. We're gonna go ahead and make the connections at the radio. We're gonna plug in our WR input to the back of the radio. It looks like an aux, but this one specifically isn't. We're gonna grab our aux and USB, plug those in as well. We're gonna grab our Bluetooth microphone. We're gonna plug that in. Last one that's really short is finally our antenna. We're gonna tuck everything into the dash here. Next, what we can do is grab our bezel here and plug in our main harness. Kind of leave this here for now, and let's go ahead and test to ensure everything's working properly. Okay, everything seems to be working okay. Let's go ahead and snap our bezel into place. All right, everything seems to be working great. We got our volume up, our volume down, servo and volume controls are working great. At this point of time, with the radio all reassembled, we are done and good to go. If you like any of the parts that we used in this video, we'll link them in the description, along with a lot of other recommendations for parts in case you have a different trim or one different radio. Additionally, we did a backup camera, so if you want to see that video on how to install a backup camera in the specific vehicle, if you don't have one already, we can link that video in the description for you. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you liked what you saw, and don't forget to subscribe. We post great content on the channel all the time. We'll see you in the next video.